In the first video, we covered what grades are and then the properties of the container of a grade. In this video, we're going to cover the properties of the individual items of a grade, or kind of items of the grade. So let's get started. So as usual, we have a single HTML file called website.html. We're using Visual Studio Code and OpenLive server to display the changes. And here all we have is basically we have this div container, and then we have this in 6 individual items. These are just the styles. Here we made it a grid, and then we chose to make it 3 columns, 3 equal columns. So let's get started. Something that I kind of want to refresh a little bit is the lines. So the column lines start from here. So this is column line 1, column line 2, column line 3, and then column line 4. So lines are always one more than the number. So we have 3 columns but 4 lines of, and then the rows are the same. We have 2 rows, but there is 4 lines. Line 1 of the row, line 2 of the row, line 3 of the row. So basically, let's see, number of lines equal to column, equal to number of rows slash columns plus 1. So there's always kind of one more. You could kind of, that's how you kind of know. Okay, so let's get started. Something else is the gap. So we can actually change the specific gap. So if I say row gap, for example, make it 40 pixels. If I save this, the gap between the rows increase. As you might have guessed, we have column gap too. Let's see. If I increase, you see it increases. But also we have a way to say both at the same time. So if I just say gap, 20 pixels and 60 pixels to kind of see a big difference. Actually, I wanna be here. Save this. You see, there's the row comes first. So we have the row and then we have the column. Or you could just give an equal value. If I just say 20, they will both be 20. Yeah, but I don't want the gap, so I'm just going to tell right now. So I want to work with individual items now. So I want to choose C. I'm going to choose item 6. And the thing about the lines is now if you know the specific line is, you can place items. So I want to take the 6 and I want to place it in column 2. So I could say here grade column start. Then I want to put it in here. So that means it starts from line 2, which is here, and then grade column ends. It ends line 3 of the column, which is right there. So if I say that, if I save, so 6 became in the second column. That's great. That works. There is a little here. Now there is a shorthand to this, which I really like using it, and it's just grade column. So you don't say start or end, but you write the start and then you write / and then the end, which is 3. So if I save this, the same space. So the same thing works. Now we have, as you may have guessed it, we have one property for the row. So here we chose the column. We can also choose the row. So I want to put the 6 here. So that's row 1. It starts from row line 1 to row line 2. So let me do that. So break row, starts from row 1 to row 2, lines. Now 6 comes here. See? So you can put specific locations of individual items. Now what if you wanted it to take more space than you wanted to? Let's say right now 6 starts from column 1 to column 2. If I wanted it to take this 2, I would say starts from column column 2 line. Every time I say I'm just gonna use line and you get it. So it starts from line 2 here to not line 3 but line 4. So if I do that from 2 to 4, I say save this. Now you see 6 took over the whole space, and that to everything else is pushed. So that is a way you could like span, kind of take multiple spaces. And let me go back to this, and this, it's the same for example, I want to say 6 to take rows. So I want it to take these 2 rows. So it starts from row line 1, which is here, and right now it stops row line 2, but I want it to stop row line 3. So if I say this is 3, I save that. Now 6 takes 2 rows. So you can specify like that. And I want to change actually to item 1. So now that 1 moved there, but let's see. So now we can span multiple items. So if I say let me go back to the columns that I had. So right now if I just say 1 to 2, nothing happens here because 1 is between line 1 of the column to line 2. And as we just said it, you could say it's line 3, is it? You could say line 4 to take over the whole tab space, but you can also say span. So for example, I say 2, but if I wanted to, if I put the span here, the word, if I save this, it spans multiple columns. So you can say start from here and then expand that number of columns. So now column 2 and column 3, so it spans. So if you don't want to specify the end, you can just specify how many columns you want it to kind of take over. Yeah, that is kind of the main idea. There is one property that you can set everything at the same time. So let's go back to the 6 it's talking about. I'm gonna save this here. And the 6 that I was talking about, this property is called grade area. And then you can set, like let's just see what happens here. 3, 4, let me save. Now you see how 6 went there. So what's going on here? Okay, great. So you're setting the column and the rows at the same time. So the first one is row start. So we said row starts from 1 and then column starts from 2. So row starts from line 1, column starts from line 2. That's great. Then we said row end is 3, so the third row. That's why we cross over the second row to the third row. And then we said column end is the fourth line, which is here. So you can write it that way. Now this is a little bit more confusing, so it might be when you're getting started, don't read this. Just use grid column and grid row, and the more you can advance, the more you'll be able to write it like that. Yeah, but that's thing. One more thing I wanted to cross. Remove all of them here. Right now, you can also specify specific areas. So here, in the container, you basically say grid template. You say instead of specifying the number of columns or the number of rows, you specify the number of areas. And let me actually comment out that. So right now we don't have any, we just have a single column because we commented out the column one. Now we want to specify the areas. Now you basically use here, and then you can say like here. If I save this, 3 columns, I specify 3 columns. Column 1 would be here to there. It's kind of like having auto, but you can kind of create a little kind of like a picture of how you want it to look. So we'll see this in a second. So let me just try this top, and I want to deal with, let's see here. So we said top, and then you can write another one before the semicolon. You can write another one just like it. I'm actually gonna copy 2 times. So I want one thing to take all the top. So I have one item that takes all the top. I want to have another item here called left. I want to have item here called center. I want to have item here. So I'm gonna call that area right. Now here, I want still the left column, and then I want to have a bottom here, and then another bottom here. So what's happening here? So I said I call all the top areas just top. Here I call the left, center. So I specified 3 different locations here. I specified one location called left and 2. So think of columns. We're building basically the columns and rows. So this would be a column, like as you go down. So we have 3 columns and 3 rows right now. So the first column here, column here in the 3rd row would be left, but the 2 others would be called bottom. And we'll see how this works. So now we can fit that many items. So we have one item called top, one called left, one called center. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 items here. That's great. Now we have to basically talk to the individual items. So I'm just gonna kind of copy this and paste it. And call it, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what? I don't really like this. So I'm just gonna use an inline CSS. So I think that would be way easier than having the name. So let me just remove all this here, remove this, and then remove this. Great. Okay, cool. So now I want to specify the individual location. So I wanted the one to be the top. So first of all, I'll make it in inline CSS, and then I want to say grade area. So basically that's kind of how you say it. So it's choosing, you're giving a grade area like we just gave when we basically said 1 over 2 or whatever. Then the area we want to give is top. So we said we want the first one to be the top. Now if you look at it, the first one took all the top because the top here takes the whole row. So right now the first one, that's why we asked it to take over the whole row. I wanted the second one to be, so let's just say style, grade area. The area I wanted it to take is the left. And if I save this, now it took over the left. That's great. So it took even because we have 2 locations. So it took the first, it took the second row of the first column and the third row of the first column, because you see we have left here, but we have another left here. If we had something else here, then it wouldn't take. So let's say, let me make this left test. Now it doesn't take. You see, it sticks to that. But since we have 2 lefts, it will take that 2 spaces. So if I save that, now it took. That's great. Everything is kind of pushed around because they don't have locations. So what I want to do is I want to give the 3. I want to make the 3 center. So grade area to be, I'm gonna say center. If I save this, the grid doesn't move because it's the correct location. When you look at it, we have the left, we have the center, and we have right. We have the left, we have the center, and there's another one that is just right now, and we haven't given that location. So I'm just gonna do that. So I want to make it grid grid area, and then I wanna be so I give the right. I wanna give the right here. Nothing happens to the 4 because it was already the correct location. But here's the trick. Now we have just a bottom left. So if I say style and grade area, and then here's where I'm gonna give the bottom. If I save this, now the 6 doesn't have any location, so it's just thrown. So I'm just gonna remove the 6 right now. So you kind of see we have exactly what we have here. We created a 3 rows. The first 3 columns. The first row is called all top, so this takes all that. The second one, the left, takes here and here, so the direction is that. We have the center item, then we have the right item, and then there's this item called bottom, the area. So these are called, they're all areas that were specified, so we call this area bottom. So it means the second column and the third column, they're both, so that's why this is taking multiple spaces. Now, the really cool thing is, if you wanted to change the location of 3 and 4, we can go here and then actually change this, make it right or something, but you can also just do it here. I don't want to do that because that kind of is logical. You have left, center, and right, but I want to do it here. So I want to make the 3, you see right now, I want to make the 3 right. And I want to make the 4th center. They switched places. So you can understand how you can actually create like a little text-based UI of how it will ultimately look. I just love it. That looks really, really good. Yeah, but that's it. That's all I wanted to cover about the grid, and I'll see you in the next video. And good luck with this. I really love this designing grids like this. It's pretty fun. See you in the next video.